Hello students, welcome to UPSC Ocean Current Affairs Analysis dated 8th July 2026 of the Hindu newspaper. So in today's class we discuss these articles linking women's income and healthcare. India's EV transition cannot afford to ignore retrofitting. Four states reach a pact on Narmada project payments. School dropouts rates falls across the key stages report, and contact lost with the Drishti, world's first Optosar satellite. So these are the important articles today we discuss in this class. So let's see the first article, linking women's income and healthcare. So this particular article can link with the social justice of the UPSC syllabus, and as well as health, women empowerment and human resource development, and as well as GS3 of the inclusive development. Okay, so this article talks about a very interesting idea. Usually we think that jobs and healthcare are two different things, right? So but this article says that they're actually deeply connected. So the main argument here, it is simple: when women earn more income, families often become healthier. So let's understand how. So here, first of all, so this article is talking about the two revolutions. What are the two revolutions happening in India is, the first one is economic revolution. So more women are joining the workforce, and this is happening because of the more formal jobs, digital payments, and even due to the government efforts to increase the women's employment. And second revolution, here the article is talking about, is the health revolution. So India's health problems are also changing. Earlier, the major health problems were infectious diseases. Today, India is increasingly facing diabetics, hypertension, heart diseases, obesity, and the mental health problems. So, these are called as the non-communicable diseases. So, here the article says that the increasing women's income can actually improve the family health. So, because women often spend money differently, instead of spending only on the consumption, they tend to invest more in the nutrition, child's education, preventive healthcare, and as well as healthy lifestyles. So, here the article gives an interesting example. So in 2018, the government made a change in the Employment Provident Fund (EPF). The mandatory EPF contribution for the newly employed women was reduced from 12% to 8%. So as a result, women received the higher take home salaries. So these created a natural experiment, and researchers want to see this. How do women usually use this additional income? So they found something surprising, that families with higher female income reduced spending on the medicines and the doctor visits, increased spending on the better nutrition, physical fitness, and as well as a health improving activities. Okay, so this is the most important point of the article. Here it is: lower spending on hospitals and medicines does not always means a poorer health. Sometimes it means people are becoming healthier and therefore needs a fewer treatments. For example, if you exercise regularly and eat healthy food, you may need fewer medicines in the future, right? This is called as a preventive healthcare. And preventive healthcare means taking steps today to avoid diseases tomorrow, like eating healthy food, exercise, regular checkups, good sanitation, and vaccination. It is often cheaper and better than treating the diseases after they occur. So, many economists, including Esther Duflo and Abhijit Banerjee, have shown that when women control more income, families generally spend more on education, nutrition, children welfare, and health. So, these improves the overall well-being of the household. And also, India wants to achieve its demographic dividend, but simply creating a jobs is not enough. So the country also needs a healthy families, healthy workers, and also a better human capital. And the article says that improving women's economic participation can also become a form of a healthy policy. Here, the main message in this particular editorial says that when women earn more, they don't simply spend more money, they often spend it more wisely by investing in the family's future health and well being. So, therefore, women's economic empowerment and public health are closely connected. So, this is what this particular editorial is saying, and this particular topic can link with the women empowerment and as well as health and inclusive growth, human development and demographic dividend of the UPSC syllabus of GS paper 2 and GS paper 3 and as well as an essay. Okay. So, empowering women economically is not only a matter of equality here, it is also an investment in a healthier family, stronger human capital, and the long term economic development. Okay, so let's see the quick revision notes. So yes, higher women's income improves household spending on nutrition and preventive health care. Increased female labor participation can improve family health outcomes. Women's economic empowerment is closely linked to public health and human development. Better healthcare investments reduce long term disease burden, which is important for SDG 3 good health and SDG 5 gender equality. Okay, so let's see the second article. So the second article is India's EV transition cannot afford to ignore retrofitment. So this particular article can link with the UPSC syllabus of economy and as well as environment. Okay. So this particular article is talking about the electric vehicles. Those are called as EVs. Electric vehicles, which also called as EVs. Should we simply throw away the world petrol and diesel vehicles, or can we convert some of them into the electric vehicles? The article says India should not ignore this vehicle retrofitting. So first of all, let us understand what is meant by this vehicle retrofitting. Okay. So vehicle retrofitting means taking an old petrol or diesel vehicle and converting it into an electric vehicle. So this is done by replacing an engine, fuel tanks and even the exhaust systems. So with electric motors, battery packs and controller. In simple words, the body of the vehicle remains the same, but the engine changes from the petrol to the petrol or diesel to the electric one. Okay. So India has more than 30 crore petrol and diesel vehicles on its roads. At the same time, EVs still account for only a small share of the total vehicles. Now imagine if we simply scrap all the old vehicles and buy new EVs, it would be very expensive, right? Wasteful and even difficult for middle class families. So that is why retrofitting becomes important here. So buying a brand new EV is costly, but converting an existing vehicle into an EV is usually a cheaper one, right? So this makes the EV transition more affordable. So in simple words, you can say like retrofitting democratizes the EV transition. So meaning more people can participate in the shift towards this clean mobility. So suppose you throw away a perfectly good vehicle, what happens? A lot of metal, plastic, rubber, glass all becomes waste, right? So these increases resource consumption, pollution and even the disposable cost. So retrofitting avoids this unnecessary scrapping. So therefore it supports the idea of circular economy. So retrofitting supports the idea of the circular economy. Okay, so students, what is meant by the circular economy? Circular economy means reuse, repair, refurbish and recycle instead of throwing away. Okay, the aim is to keep the products in use for as long as the possible. So vehicle retrofitting is perfectly fits this particular idea. So a large retrofitting industry also can create a jobs for mechanics, electricians, battery technicians, even a software specialist, service centers and the rural entrepreneurs. So this is not only an environmental issue, it is also an economic opportunity, right? So the article says several countries are encouraging the circular mobility, retrofitting solutions and as well as a reuse of vehicles. So even Nepal has taken steps to support this vehicle retrofitting, and India still does not have this complete national level framework for retrofitting, and there are several challenges in the perspective of this retrofitting. So different rules in the different states, financial problems will be there, and the lack of standard certification, consumer concerns and even the tax issues. Here the article is suggesting some of the solutions for this particular retrofitting, like uniform policies across the country and better financing support, safety and certification standards, a rational GST treatment, even publicly available retrofitting data, inclusion of retrofitting in the EV promotion scheme. So these are some of the suggestions that the article is providing for the retrofitment of the EV vehicles. And the article also mentions about the two of the important schemes by the government. So first one is the FAME scheme. So FAME scheme is the faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and the electric vehicles, which promotes EV adoption in India. So next one is the PM E-Drive scheme. PM E-Drive scheme. So this scheme supports the electric mobility, charging infrastructure, and as well as a zero emission transportation. So the article suggests that retrofitted vehicles should also support under such a schemes. Okay, so India imports more than 85% of its crude oil requirements. Therefore, reducing dependency on the petrol and diesel is important for energy security, lower oil imports, and the cleaner environment, and as well as a reduced emissions. So EVs and retrofitting can help achieve these goals. So the article says that old vehicles should not always be treated as a scrap. Sometimes it can be transformed into a clean electric vehicles. In simple words, we can say like this: India should focus not only buying a new EVs but also on converting existing vehicles into the EVs. Okay, so this particular article can connect with the multiple topics of the UPSC syllabus, including the electric mobility, energy security, climate change, circular economy, as well as the sustainable development of the prelims and GS paper 3 of the UPSC syllabus. Okay. So let's see the next article. So before that, let's have a quick revision. Retrofitting converts the existing internal combustion engine vehicles into electric vehicles, and which supports the circular economy and also reduces this vehicular emissions. So cheaper than purchasing a new EV, and promotes the affordable green mobility, which generates employment in repair and battery ecosystem, which helps India achieve the net zero and sustainable transportation goals. Okay, so let's see the next article. 4 states reach a pact on Narmada project payments. So this particular article can link with the UPSC syllabus of federalism, GS2, interstate relations, water disputes, even the cooperative federalism. Okay, so these parts of the UPSC syllabus where you can study this particular article. Here the article is about an agreement reached by the 4 states regarding the Narmada project payments. Okay, so the 4 states would be Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and as well as the Rajasthan. Okay, so these states have settled a long pending issue related to the cost sharing and pending payments of the Sardar Sarovar project. Okay, Sardar Sarovar project. So first of all, let us understand what is the Narmada River. The Narmada River is one of the India's major west flowing rivers. It originates from the Amarkantak Plateau. It is very important UPSC themes. Rivers are the important UPSC theme. Okay, Amarkantak Plateau in Madhya Pradesh. So it flows from the Madhya Pradesh to Maharashtra, and then Maharashtra to Gujarat, and then to the finally to the Arabian Sea. Okay. See, so the Sardar Sarovar project is a major multi-purpose river valley project built on the Narmada River. So the main objective of this Sardar Sarovar project is for the irrigation, drinking water supply, even the hydroelectricity power generation and the drought management. And it is one of the India's largest river development projects. And the 4 states had some pending payments issues regarding this construction cost and cost sharing arrangements, even the settlements of dues under the Narmada award. So these issues had remained unresolved for many years. Now the states have reached an amicable settlement. The issue has been resolved through mutual agreement and cooperation without the conflict, which is a good example of the cooperative federalism, Okay. So this agreement is important because the benefits of the Narmada River project are shared by all the states. The projects providing water for drinking, irrigation for farmers, even the electricity for the generation. So therefore all the beneficiary states needs to cooperate in the sharing in both the benefits and as well as in the cost. So here the Home Minister made an important statement where Amit Shah has said that regardless of which state receives the water, the ultimate beneficiary is an Indian citizen, right? So this is an important idea. It reminds us that rivers do not not belong to one of the state alone. They are a shared natural resources. Recently, India has seen a progress in resolving several interstate water disputes, like Yamuna Water Project Agreement between Rajasthan and Haryana, and even the Kishahu Multipurpose Project Agreement between Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, and Rajasthan. So, which shows an increasing cooperation among these states. Here, water is a limited resources because different states have different needs like agriculture, drinking water, industry, even the electricity generation. As the demand increases, conflicts over sharing river water also increases. So that is why cooperative mechanism becomes important here. Since several states have shared the Narmada river, there were disputes over water sharing. So therefore the government established this Narmada Water Dispute Tribunal. So the tribunal gave its award regarding the water sharing, cost sharing, and even the project benefits. The present agreement relates to this importance of the implementation of these agreements. Okay, so let's see the quick revision of this. So it's not just a quick revision notes. Whenever you students, if you want to make a notes of from the current affairs from these articles, roughly you want to maintain a notes, you can just add this notes, and if you whatever the things that you wanted to add to this particular material, you can add it. You can copy paste this particular information in your notes. Okay. See here, this is a Narmada main canal which will be in the Sardar Sarovar project, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. Here, the Gulf of Kambat, the Narmada river drains here in the Arabian Sea. So this is the location. So here see the four states are the Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan settled pending Narmada projects dues related to the Sardar Sarovar project on the Narmada river, which demonstrated the cooperative federalism and interstate coordination. And Narmada is India's major west flowing rivers originating from the Amarkantak plateau, which is important for irrigation, drinking water, and the hydropower generation. Okay, so let's see the next article. School dropouts rates falls across the key stages according to a report. So this particular article can link with the UPSC syllabus of education, especially the women education. It's not just about women education, regarding government policies and interventions, issues related to the development and management. In these perspectives, you can see this particular article. Here the article talks about some good news for India's education sector. The government has released this UDISE plus report for 2025 and 2026, and the report shows that school dropouts rates are falling across different stages of education. So fewer students are leaving school before completing their education. So this is a positive sign for India's future. So first of all, let us understand what is this UDISE plus. It is a unified district information system for education plus, and it is India's largest database on school education, and it collects the information about the students, teachers, school infrastructures, enrollments, dropout rates, internet facilities, toilets, and as well as electricity. So every year this report tells us about the health of India's education system. So the report says that the dropout rates have declined at the preparatory level, that is at the primary preparatory level, that is from classes 3 to 5. The dropout rate has been fell from 2.3% to 1.8%. Even at the secondary level, that is from class 9 to 12, even the dropout rate has fell from 8.2% to 7.0%. And so these means more children are continuing their education. So when students stay in a school for a longer time, literacy improves, skills improves, employment opportunities improves, poverty reduces, even the human capital becomes the stronger. So that is why reducing school dropouts is very important for India's development. Here the student retention has also increased according to this article. Here the retention means students continue their education. So the article is also talking about the retention. Okay, so retention means students continue their education from 1 year to the next year. So the report says the middle school retention increased to 63.7% and secondary school retention to 51.9%. So students, this particular data can be used while you are writing a mains answers. Okay, so these means more students are staying in the education system. The article also talking about the GER. So GER means gross enrollment ratio, which measures the percentage of the students enrolled in a particular level of education. So where the report says that the secondary level GR increased from 68.5% to 71.7%. So this is a significant improvement, we can say. And also the report also says that girls now account for 48.4% of total enrollment. So which shows that gender gaps in education are gradually reducing and the women teachers are also increasing. That is 54.9% of the total teachers in India, which shows that the gender balance, girls participation in the schools, even the safety and inclusiveness has been increased. Okay, so here the total number of teachers has increased by 8.3% compared to 2022 to 23. At the same time, single teacher schools have declined and schools with a zero enrollment have also declined, which shows that improvement in the educational administration. The report also says that infrastructure is also improving, that schools with internet access, schools with computer facilities also been increased. Okay, so the overall message of this particular article is about India is making a steady progress in education. More children are staying in the school, completing the higher classes, getting better facilities and accessing the digital education. However, the dropout rate at the secondary level is still relatively high and it requires a further attention. Okay. See, yes, UDI-SC plus report shows decline in a school dropouts rates across all schools. Secondary gross levelment is increased to 7.1%. Girls account for 48.4% of enrollment and women teachers from 54.9% of the total teachers. And even the school infrastructure such as internet and computer access has improved, contributes to human capital formation and demographic dividend. See, this is a dropout rate of secondary school, especially in India, at a different states. Okay, see the next article. Yes, this article is talking about the contact lost with Drishti, world's first optosar satellites. Yes, this particular article can be linked with the science and technology, especially the space technology of the UPSC syllabus. Okay, so here the article is talking about the Indian space startup called the Galaxy Eye. And it's a satellite called as a Mission Drishti. Okay, Mission Drishti. So unfortunately, the company has lost contact with the satellite after it experienced a geomagnetic solar storm. The reason they are saying no, geomagnetic solar storm. Okay, so this is important because Mission Drishti was a very special satellite. Let's understand why. So here the Mission Drishti means it is the world's first optosar satellite. It is also India's largest privately developed Earth observation satellite. The satellite was launched in May 2026. Here the name comes from the two technologies. First one is a electro-optical, that is called as EVO sensors. Okay. Second one is a synthetic aperture radar. Which is called a SAR technology. So the satellite combines this both systems into one platform. So electro-optical sensor, EVO sensors works like a normal cameras, like they capture images during visual light, infrared light. So they provide very high resolution pictures. But there is one problem with this EVO sensors is they cannot see properly at night and through thick clouds. Whereas SAR stands for a synthetic aperture radar. It uses radar waves instead of visible light. So therefore SAR can work during day and night, see through the clouds and operate during the bad weather also. So that is why SAR satellites are extremely useful. Here uh, this particular mission Drishti is called as an optosar satellite because it combines the advantages of both these technologies. It can provide high resolution images, all weather monitoring, and even the day and night observation also. So this is why mission Drishti was considered as a major technological innovation. Okay, so the company says that satellite encountered an anomaly after a geomagnetic solar storm. So following this event, communication with the spacecraft become intermittent and eventually stopped. So recovery efforts are still going on, but the company says the chances of recovery appears very low. So a geomagnetic storm happens when the sun releases a huge amount of this charged particles, and as well as the solar radiation. Okay, so these particles interact with Earth's magnetic field. As a result, they can affect satellites, communication systems, GPS signals, and also the power grids. Okay, so satellites operate in the space and are directly exposed to the solar radiation. A strong geomagnetic storm can damage these electronic systems, disrupt these communications, even affect the onboard computers. So, and causes the satellite failure. So, the company believes that the radiation effects may have impacted a critical onboard system here. So mission Drishti was launched on this May 3rd, 2026 using a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket at California, USA. So this article highlights two important developments. First one is India's private space sector is growing rapidly. The companies like Galaxy, Skyroot, Agnikul are building advanced space technology. Second one is space missions also faces risks from the space weather, solar storms, even the radiation effects. So this shows why building a resilient space system is important. Okay. So here we're talking about this particular mission Drishti is an Earth observation satellite, right? Earth observation satellites basically helps in agriculture, disaster management, weather forecasting, even the broader surveillance, urban planning, and the environmental monitoring. So therefore, losing such a satellite is a technological setback, but it is also provides a valuable lessons for the future missions. Okay. Okay, students, this is one of the important article from the today's current affairs class. Okay, so let's have a quick revise this. So mission Drishti is the world's first optosar satellite developed by Galaxy, combines electro-optical and synthetic aperture radar technology. SAR enables all-weather day and night Earth observation, and the communication was lost following a geomagnetic solar storm, highlights India's growing private sector and the importance of the space resilience. Okay, so this is a mission Drishti space satellite. Okay. So, okay, students, these are the important articles from the today's current affairs class. Hope you enjoy this class. Thank you for listening and all the best. Okay.